Welcome back, Embers, or if you're new here, welcome to the Campfire Crew. My name is Stone, my pronouns are they, them, and today we're doing my first update for my project Level Up. So if you haven't seen this series on my channel before, if you didn't see the intro, I will leave it down below, and I will also leave the creator of this project linked down below for you. So in case you've never seen these videos before, the way that I am structuring my project Level Up, I'm doing a light version. You go from level 1 to level 5, and in level 1 you're supposed to use every shadow one time, hit one pan, but I am just doing the using every shadow one time for level 1, using every shadow 2 times for level 2, so on and such forth. And the first palette I rolled in was the Sephora Wishing You palette. And here's a picture of what it looked like last month. And if you've never seen my personal videos, just so you know, I am removing any shade I don't like. I'm only using shadows that I haven't fully used the palette before, and just testing out what shadows I like and which shadows I don't like. And so these are going to look very different month to month, and nothing is going to show that better than what this palette looks like now. So now that you've seen what it looked like, this is what we're looking like now. So as you can see, there's only 5 shadows left. The package is a bit reflective, but let me swatch these out for you. So the first shade we have left is this dark purple shade, and I have these actually all in my eye look today, but I will still swatch them out. This dark purple look, it's a little darker than it is on swatches just because I'm right in front of a window. So that's what that first one looks like. And I forgot to swatch these all out, so I can't show you what the swatches looked like first, at least the way I swatched it. But I will show you these now. The second shade is this kind of deep grayish brown. It's what I have on my transition today. Ooh, I gotta be careful the way I swatch them because I burned my fingers at work today. And that's what this looks like. This was actually a shadow that I wasn't sure I was gonna keep because it looked just too brown. And at first when I put it on my eyes, I wasn't gonna keep it. But when I finished a look, it was very similar to this one. I just thought it looked so cool, and I just knew I had to keep it. Then we've got this one. This is this dark greeny color. Okay, that's as much as I'm swatching that. That's not a great swatch, but I'm not swatching anymore because it hurts. So that's the swatch we get. Then we've got this lighter pink color, which I have on my inner corners today. That's what that one looks like. And then last but not least, I actually ended up keeping one of these middle shades. I thought I was going to get rid of both of them. I thought they kind of felt powdery on my arm in swatches, but on the lid they're really pretty. It's hard to kind of tell, but this is like a white to bluey kind of green. It's not the most beautiful shade I've ever seen. I've definitely seen prettier, but I don't own any really light whitey kind of transition colors. So those are the shades I have left, and let's talk about, I'm actually going to wash this off, I'm going to wash my swatches, and then I'll be back and we'll talk numbers and we'll re-roll a new palette. Okay, so I've got my notebook out with my data. I'm going to put up a picture of what the palette looked like before and tell you how many times I used each of these shades. So they don't have names on them, so I'm just going to call them what I call them normally. We'll go through. We start at the top of this palette with the deep red shimmer, and I've used that 2 times, including today. The bone white that was in this palette originally, I used once and decided that it was, even though I think a lot of people would find the shade very useful, in fact, I know from watching Project Pan that a lot of people find a bone white very useful. It's just not something I use. I tried to use it in the way I've heard other people talk about using it, which is to blend out other colors, and I just didn't like it, honestly. I think I just like the way I blend now and find it fine, so I just didn't have a use for it. The next shade was a light brown, which I used once, and I don't really like neutrals. A lot of these were neutrals, which is why I got rid of a lot of them. So I just I didn't need it, so I wasn't gonna I wasn't gonna use it, so I ended up decluttering that one. The next is that cool dark brown, which I have again on my transition now, and I used that 2 times, including this look today. After that, we had what I call a mid-tone pink shimmer. I got rid of that. I seem to remember, if I recall, it just wasn't as pretty as these shimmers, and I just felt like it wasn't a shade that I was going to use a lot. Plus, it didn't feel like that nice of a shimmer. Like the formula was a little more dusty on that shade, and so I got rid of that one. Then I used the mid-tone olive 1 time. It's quite nice, and I actually compared it to some other kind of olivey shades in my collection, and I found them different enough. Like the one in this palette, I'm just going to look at it for my own uses. The one in this palette is more grungy, more kind of a browny green than the one I have in my Divina palette, because I have kind of a deep green deep green in that one, but this one's more olivey, more kind of on the browny side of green, and so they do look different on the eyes, and so I decided to keep the mid-tone olive. Plus it's kind of this dark grungy color, and I love those kind of shades. The next thing is a light pink shimmer, and I felt the same way about the light pink shimmer that I did about the mid-tone pink shimmer. Actually, more so about the light pink shimmer. I thought it was really not flaky, because I don't mind a flaky shadow. It was just very dry. It didn't really apply to the eyes very nicely. It didn't really do anything, and it just kind of made my eyes look dusty in a way that you don't want eyeshadows to look. And so I just got rid of that one. The next was a black, and it was a fine black. I just already have 2 blacks in my collection. I do not need another one, so I decluttered that. Then is the mid-tone red shimmer, which I used 2 times, once in this look. I believe mid-tone red shimmer was after the black. That's the lighter of the shimmers in the palette, of the ones that I kept. And I used those 2 times. I used that in my inner corner for this look, and another time in a very similar look. I think I put it in the middle of that look. But I think it's quite pretty, and it goes really well with the other shimmer that I kept in this palette, the other like deep kind of reddy shimmer. Then I had a reddish brown, and again, it's just too neutral for me, so I used it 1 time and then decided to declutter it. There was also one of the big shades in the middle was an iridescent, like a white to purple shift, and I just found that one also had the same problem as the light pink shimmer and the mid-tone pink shimmer, where it just looked very powdery even on the eyes, which is odd because I find most of the shimmers I've ever used don't feel that way. They look, you know, smooth and nice, but that one just looked like putting flour straight onto your face. It didn't look good. So I got rid of that one, and I ended up really liking the kind of blue-green flip, the white with a bluey kind of green shift. I did it with some blue looks that I was using in my Pan That palette, and I actually thought it looked really pretty, and I don't have anything that's really light blue like that, and so I just thought it was perfect for that. I'm excited to use it in a green look as an inner corner, because I think that would also look good. So I ended up keeping that. So as I said, I kept 5 shades in this palette, and overall I did 5 different looks with this palette to use every shade at least once. Like I said, all of these shades have been used at least once. And what I'm left with is a palette that I really like. I'll show you one more time. This is how this palette looks now. It's this really pretty, deep, grungy palette with this just pop of iridescent inner corner shade. It doesn't really match anything else in this palette, but I am going to be using this because this whole thing is a mirror. This big circle here is a really nice mirror. So with other shades that I decide to keep in this palette, I'm probably going to repress them into here. And also, these shades are so much deeper, I'm sorry if I'm blinding you, than I thought they would be. I thought they would be so shallow, but they're actually pretty freaking deep. So a lot of product's gonna go in here, and I'm excited to see what this palette ends up looking like by the end of the year when I put some new things in there. Okay, I'm gonna grab my palettes and then we'll roll for a new shade, or a new palette. We'll roll for a new palette. Okay, so I'm back with my palettes. Last time I said there was a palette that I can't find, still can't find it. So we're down, now that we've done one palette, to 5 palettes to choose from. And it's gonna go palette 1, 2, and we're going top to bottom. I unfortunately can't show you me rolling because I'm filming on my phone, but I'm gonna roll and then we'll figure out what palette I got. I'm so excited. Hello, I just wanted to insert this with some extra stats that I just started recording now. And that is my eyeshadow numbers and my pan percentage, because this is the project where I'm gonna be, decluttering a bunch of shadows. I wanted to just share my eyeshadow numbers and my pan percentage here. So on January 1st, I had 126 pans of eyeshadow in my collection. I had pan on 22 of them, which means I had a pan percentage of 17.46%. And then as of now, which is January 28th, I have 131 pans of eyeshadow in my collection, because I should have pulled this out first. I got a new palette. I decided to pick up for Christmas for myself the Indigo Ink palette, which looks like this. I'm sure though there's going to be a video on it eventually, doing like a 4 looks 1 palette kind of thing. So I added 12 shadows to my collection, but through this month, my Sephora Wishing You palette has gotten rid of 7 shades, and so I am up 5 shades in my collection. So yeah, I have 131 pans of eyeshadow now in my collection. We're up by 5, but my number of pans is now 24, and that makes my pan percentage 18.32%, which means I have added 0.86% to my pan percentage, and if that's how much pan percentage I get, even adding shades into my collection, I'm sure this number is going to grow next month when I am not adding any new shadows into my collection and we're just getting rid of possibly other ones and getting more pans. So those are my extra numbers that I just wanted to include in this, and I'll take you back to normal non-editing Stone now. Bye. Okay, I've generated a random number. That number is 3, which means 1, 2, 3. We have, this is a weird palette for this time of year. We have my NYX Ultimate Shadow Palette. Is that what it's called? Every time I read this, I just think it's so weird. It's Ulta Matte, like mattes, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a complete name to me. But it's the Ulta Matte palette by NYX. This is what it looks like. It's this really bright palette. It would have probably been better for winter, but it is one of my larger palettes in the rotation for this. I think it has the most shades, maybe the second most. How many shades is this? 14. This is 4, 8, 12, 16. Yeah, this is my biggest palette that's able to be rotated in. So it's good that I got it for level 2. So I have to use each of these 2 times. I'm going to swatch it out off camera and then I'll show you what it looks like. You know what? I think this is going to be good. First of all, again, because it's just level 2, but also there's some pinks in here, these 4, and this kind of orangey color, and purples. So the top 2 rows actually will probably work really well for next month because we're going into Valentine's Day. It's going to be for February. The blues I think could be cute for just like winter, because I do like to wear blues during winter. We're not quite done January yet. I'm filming this before the end of January because I already finished my palette. So I still have like a week left. So I still have 2 weekends. So like 4 days worth of makeup looks to do. And I could probably use the blues during that. And then during February, use all of these purples and pink kind of colors. And then, I don't know, I'll figure out what to do with the yellows and the greens. But I'm excited for this. At first, I was kind of bummed because I feel like this is a very summer palette, and I was like, what the hell am I going to do with this in winter? But if you actually take out this row, you got pinks and purple. Like I said, Valentine's Day, winter, and then the bottom 2, I'll just wear some yellow looks and some green looks. Thank you so much for watching. If you don't know, I have a couple of Instagram accounts which are linked down below. I used to stream on Twitch. It's also at Stone Says Hello. And you can follow me at any of those places. Or if you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe to this channel, like this video. I also do, along with Project Level Up, pan that palette, and I'm trying to do some more fun things. Plus, this month for my birthday, I'm going to be doing a makeup bingo collab, which I am so excited for. So you have to stay tuned for that. And yeah, I hope to see you back soon. It's been lovely to chat with you, and I'll see you later. Bye!